Reject your sense of injury. Embrace your power. Reject the very idea that rejection can wound you. The pain itself will disappear. Have you had a door slammed in your face, only to later see it was for the best? Today, we explore transforming rejection into a stepping stone towards greatness. Inspired by the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, envision a world where every no propels you forward instead of discouraging you. Rejection, often seen as painful, can actually lead you towards something greater. It's not about outsmarting fate, but recognizing that the universe's rejections can be hidden invitations to something better. Do you ever feel unnoticed, disregarded, or underappreciated? It's time to rewrite that narrative. In this guide, we'll unpack 13 profound lessons to harness the power of rejection. Not just theory, these are actionable, real-life strategies. 1. Don't react emotionally. Rejection can spark an urge to lash out or crumble inwardly. But Stoicism teaches us a different way: to embrace composure. When brushed off, resist seeking validation or expressing resentment. It's not about suppressing emotions, but mastering them. Take a step back and reflect. Often our insecurities, not the rejection itself, inflict the deepest wounds. Stay polite, kind, and let your responses flow authentically without expectations. This approach isn't passivity, but emotional mastery, realizing your self-worth doesn't hinge on others' approval, but on how you respond. Embodying calmness amid rejection cultivates self-confidence impervious to external validation. 2. Disregard them too. When met with indifference, don't shrink, rise above it, ignoring those who ignore you in pettiness, but a powerful self-worth affirmation. If someone deems you unworthy of their time, it's their loss. By disengaging, you declare, I am deserving of more, reflecting a mirror that reveals their behavior while leaving you unaffected. But how? Divert your focus to enriching activities, reading, sports, learning, enjoying those who truly value you. Use rejection sting as fuel for personal growth, constructing an unbreakable self-respect fortress that deflects indifference. This approach showcases emotional maturity and inner strength, reinforcing that your value isn't contingent on others' recognition. Stay tuned as we unpack 11 more life-changing lessons to transform rejection into the catalyst for your most triumphant self. 3. Unshackle your mind. When the sting of rejection strikes, mastering the art of detachment becomes an indispensable superpower. Acknowledge the sting without permitting it to fester into an all-consuming obsession. Rather than viewing rejection as an impasse, reframe it as a detour sign redirecting you towards greener pastures of opportunity. Metabolize that experience into transformative fuel, navigating turbulent waters with steadfast skill and hardened grace. Immerse yourself in spirit-enriching activities that expand your horizons, embracing each new foray as an initiation deeper into self-discovery. Thoughtfully cultivate a circle of hive-eyed presences who uplift and inspire your evolution. Such interactions catalyze mutual ascension, reaffirming that rejection's narrative holds no dominion over your immense worth, merely as an initiation to boldly reimagine and reinvent yourself anew. With each feat of resilience, you emerge sculpted into an even more heroically resilient iteration of your highest self, forged for the fires still to come. 4. Initiate a strategic silence. In rejection's emotional theater, silence emerges as a devastating weapon of unperturbable composure. Resist avidly the ego's desperate impulse to flail about seeking validation or reconciliation. Instead, harness the power of a stoic, intentional silence. Wield this period of no contact as a renaissance of self-edification, reaffirming your self-worth while prioritizing your emotional equanimity. Through emotional distance, you broadcast a powerful decree of self-reverence and unshakable mettle, that your core well-being exists at an elevation impervious to any external dismissal. This silence is no frail passivity, but an active embodiment of self-respect and unbreachable self-assurance. While unlikely to reshape the external rejection itself, this grace-forged silence catalyzes volcanic shifts within, fortifying your resolve and alchemizing you into tempered steel, hardened for whichever gauntlets fate has in store. 5. Embody your greatness. Rather than internalizing rejection's trivial superficiality, unleash it as a rallying cry to showcase your true radiance. When sidelined or diminished, redirect that electric charge into unstoppable constructive momentum. Let your skills and strengths beam brilliantly. Through meaningful projects and soul-inscribed initiatives, unbowed by any dismissive oversight. Awaken to the core truth that rejection is never a commentary on your infinite worth, but simply a course correction towards opportunities that align more vividly with your highest calling. Embrace rejection's seeming setbacks as setups for meteoric comebacks, authoring a legacy success narrative forged in perseverance and unrelenting self-belief. By emanating grace and understanding, you emerge phoenix risen from rejection's ashes stronger, wiser, primed to blaze even brighter. Rejection is never the end of your ennobling story, merely a pivotal catalyst for catalyzing your most transcendent growth and soul-actualizing fulfillment. 6. Revel in life's sweetness. Amidst the fog of rejection, proactively immersing yourself in soul-replenishing joys becomes the supreme demonstration of unbreakable resilience. Do not retreat into echoing isolation, but defiantly seek out experiences that reignite your spirit with laughter, connection, and fulfillment. Challenge the disempowering notion that rejection should dictate your state of resonance or dampen your shine. Voraciously engage pastimes that inflame your passions, foster uplifting camaraderie, and unleash cascades of revitalizing laughter that reawaken your eternal childlike wonder. Embrace the great mystery, viewing rejection's closed aperture not as a terminal breadend, but as an initiatory doorway onto new horizons yet to be explored. Each radiant experience exponentially enriches your life, reinforcing the unbreakable resilience and ever-elevating adaptability that have become unwavering hallmarks of your triumphant hero's journey. Through communion with kindred spirits, laughter's healing baptisms, and full immersion in life's richest blessings, you not only transcend rejection, you alchemize it into the lead weight at the end of your personal growth pendulum, endlessly propelling you forth into realms of ever greater expansion. 7. Forge your unconquerable spirit. The truest art of leveraging rejection transcends mere defiance of external doubts. It is an unwavering reaffirmation of your own infinite potential. Transmute every no into nuclear fuel for explosive growth and self-actualization. Commit yourself fully to shattering perceived limitations through the daily renewal of honing your skills and amplifying your capabilities, not for the sake of hollow validation, but as an ascending spiral of ever greater personal mastery and fulfillment. Let your actions resound like thunder, silently demonstrating your towering competence and adamantine determination. While there is no mandate to broadcast your upward trajectory, simply allow your snowballing achievements to radiate their own blinding luminosity. This is no petty war against the perceptions of others, but an eternal love-forged oath to court excellence in its purest form as a sacred way of life. By continually redefining your self-conception and awakening to the staggering immensity of your true capabilities, you emerge from the chrysalis of rejection armored in unshakable self-assurance, now unstoppable. 8. Amplify your positive resonance. The path of Stoicism illuminates rejection as a sacred portal for personal growth and ever-expanding positive impact. Rather than fruitless seeking of external affirmation, realign your focus toward continual self-optimization and the forging of meaningful bonds richly enhancing your tribe. Embrace catalytic activities like physical mastery and community upliftment, not merely as means to heightened well-being, but as offerings to be reverentially laid upon the altar of humanity's greater thriving. Weave a living tapestry of nourishing connections based in mutual respect and shared devotion to individual and collective ascension. This transcendent journey of self-rediscovery is not about idly ascending contrived social hierarchies, but about relentlessly ascending the boundless vertical path of maximal personal incarnation. By aligning your noble intentions with the unstoppable pursuit of increasing your light's brilliance, You inspire others to heroically do the same, igniting an upward spiral of empowered beings heroically, co-creating a world reborn in unshakable resilience, boundless empathy, and infinite growth potential. 9. Embody imperturbable poise. To opt for silence amidst the static of indifference is to regally embody the most rarefied self-possession and inviolable self-reverence, rather than descending into desperate grasping for validation, or emitting enfeebling blasts of retaliation. You remain anchored in supreme stewardship of your sanctified inner peace, through devoted introspection and exalted emotional mastery. Embrace these hallowed interludes of silence not as vacuous voids, but as consecrated opportunities for ever deeper self-reflection and initiation into higher self-actualization. Wield this stillness as an alchemical furnace to reaffirm your most summissly held values. Continually retemper your heroically striving character and realign your noble actions into immortal harmony with your soul's crystalline core principles. This silence is no cowardly retreat, but a supreme demonstration of tower-embedded inner strength and imperturbable composure. By electing to remain judiciously unresponsive, you heroically assert your sovereign autonomy, while refusing to be goaded into fruitless exchanges eroding your equanimity. From this supremely fortified inner citadel of silence, you emerge, wielding it as a spiritually electrifying force tuned to the highest frequencies of emotional mastery, authentically aligned self-expression, and effortless magnetism of your intrinsic worth. 10. Embody Indomitability. When coalesced in the field of indifference, your most devastatingly empowered posture often arrives through quiet coruscations of supreme strength, rather than scattering your force by attending to those who diminish your resplendence. Realign that energy toward presences who reverentially elevate your magnificence. Maintain professionalism and civility when unavoidable apertures demand interaction. Yet, invest no more of your emotional treasury into parasitic one-sided husks of unfulfilled relating, devoid of mutual reciprocity. By relentlessly prioritizing your sanctified well-being and pursuing only enriching connections potently catalyzing your mutual transcendence, you broadcast your time's priceless value as a precious beneficence, meriting commensurate exchange of equivalent appreciation. Electing to mindfully not engage in fruitless endeavors betrays no weakness, but rather demonstrates staggering levels of self-respect and queen-embodied discernment over which frequencies you elect to amplify through your life force's holy investment. Embody the power of the conscious walk-away, honoring that your incandescent energy is best reverently offered upon altars which will alchemically rarefy and exponentially magnify your radiance, not dilute or subjugate it. 11. Embody graceful strength. When navigating the swirling tides of indifference, anchor yourself in kindness as your unwavering core philosophy. While steadfastly upholding emotional boundaries, treat all beings with an impenetrable foundation of respect and compassion, even when met with dismissive disregard. Yet firmly safeguard your inner sanctum of peace and emotional equilibrium. Embrace emotional distance not as a withering, but as an act of profoundly nourishing self-preservation and unbreachable integrity. By refusing to be defined by others' surfaces of behavior or attitude, and extending kindness as an emanation devoid of transactional expectation, you breathe living proof of tower-embodied character and self-mastered assurance. Let this wisdom ring through your bones. Emotional distance encodes no resignation to detachment or implosion into apathy. It is a conscious, spiritually empowered choice to prioritize your mental and emotional sovereignty, a delicately cultivated homeostasis of empathy and undefendable self-care, rooted in the pristine, millennia-aged clarity of Stoic virtue. 12. Shine from your infinite core. Stoicism beckons us to anchor our very essence in the bedrock of intrinsic self-worth, fiercely independent from the gravitational pull of external perceptions. Rather than dissipating your energies in fruitless grasping for ephemeral validation through external approval, reverently cultivate a self-sustaining fountain of profound inner fulfillment through the eternal spiral of self-actualization. Immerse yourself in activities vibrantly resonant with your soul's highest passions and crystallized values, enshrining authenticity over the empty siren calls of fleeting attention. This heroic journey of self-optimization encodes no forsaken conquest to somehow prove illusory detractors wrong. It is a triumphant living embodiment of your unique strengths and loftiest ascensions. Resist the ego's desperate impulse to perform hollow dances for the approval of the disengaged. Relinquish the shackles of that depleting pursuit, and awaken to the truth that authentic, magnetic confidence blazes forth only from your infinite core. By realigning your sacred life force toward ongoing self-liberation and uncompromising well-being, you redefine prosperity on your own terms, shearing away the self-diminishing fetters of external validation. 13. Walk as personified grace. Resist avidly the entropic pull to divulgently broadcast your struggles, or resign to grasping for validation through spectacular external acknowledgement. Instead, carry yourself cloaked in the impervious armor of composure and hard-earned dignity, embodying the eternal crown principles of Stoic resilience incarnate. Give full embrace to the purgatorial fires of your emotions, yet refuse to be enslaved to their gravitational insistence on dictating your behavior or eroding your consecrated self-trust. By navigating rejection's stormy waters with an unstaring eye of graceful poise, you emerge decreeing an unwavering affirmation of your infinite interior fortitude and conqueror's resilience. Embody this spiritually bulletproof Stoic philosophy of emotional indomitability, awakening to the unshakable reality that true power streams only from an uncompromising maintenance of integrity and self-reverence, even when beset by life's fiercest forgiveness. Your transcendent response to rejection emerges as an aureole filtering of your heroically fortified interior constitution and unflinching allegiance to perpetual growth as a way of being. The great Stoic icons were not merely theorists, but initiates who rigorously practiced and prepared their mental kingdoms for rejection as an inevitability of the human experience, not a cataclysmic derailment, but a foreseeable unfolding woven into life's rich terrarium. A Stoic is never naively deluded into pining for fantasies and outcomes that exist well outside their sphere of influence. They have rehearsed mentally the full spectrum of potential outcomes, peered soberly into the abyss of how situations could malign contrary to their preferred expectations, and emerged more fully anchored in a transcendent peace and acceptance of reality's utmost rigor. This is the mark of their momentary response in such events, not bewildered by disruption's embers, nor tossed asunder in emotional cataclysm. In preparation, the great Seneca would begin each new daybreak by contemplatively reviewing his plans and overarching aspiration for the cycle ahead, allowing the possibilities of interference or impedance to marinate into his psyche's strategic framework. Should his intention be to embark on a sailing voyage, he would traverse the potentials of storms whipping into impasse, captains falling dreadfully ill, or pirates descending in predatory tempest upon his craft. For as he shared in intimate counsels, nothing befalls the wise person against their expectation, nor do outcomes manifest for them as they merely wished, but as they astutely reckoned. And above all else, the wise person reckons that unforeseen forces could impose disruption upon even their most carefully laid plans. By holding such daily practice, Seneca remained eternally prepared to harmonize with disruption, or organically weaving it into his brightest blueprints as a forgetfire of heightened mastery. He stood fitted for either triumph or the lessons of seeming defeat. For as we must ultimately concede, a pleasantly surprising outcome eternally seeds more nourishing soil than an unpleasant,